What's going on YouTube? Hayden Schreier making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we will be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up if you want to see more content like this. Otherwise, check out the links below in the description to get some cool accessories for some Crypto TV merch, as well as the Amazon link to see some other crypto related accessories and merchandise. Definitely check those out. Otherwise, let's move on to today's episode. So as you guys saw in the title, a pretty bold statement that I am making. I said that this is proof that Litecoin is out of the bear market. This is proof that it is over. Now, bear with me, no pun intended, as we go on this journey through today's episode. And I do have some pretty important things to discuss with you guys. And I would recommend watching this to the end because there's a lot of important information I want to get across to you. As always, if you guys have any opinions, comments, criticisms to everything or anything that I show you on this channel, please don't feel afraid to leave a comment below. This way, I and everyone else, all your peers, are able to, hear and voice your opinion. And it's basically a way to start a general discussion, and we can all grow and learn and see the differences of an opinion of that. But keep it a little bit better with the negativity, or just like, don't be too negative in the chat. It's different when you talk about a directed negative comment at someone or to someone versus just a negative outlook on the bear market. Those are fine, but definitely there is a difference in those. Otherwise, let's move on with today's episode. So I'm on the coin market cap. We have 211 billion market. 24-hour volume, 12.17. Bitcoin dominance, 52.4. So fairly stable throughout today's and yesterday's day. You can see the 24-hour volume is slightly decreasing compared to yesterday, which is interesting, and it's something we're going to talk about a little bit later on in today's episode. We have about the same market cap, 211. I think we saw this as high as 218 billion when we saw Litecoin above $55. So that is slightly decreasing. And then interesting enough, Bitcoin dominance is staying fairly stable, which means that the Bitcoin price isn't really moving, but the altcoins is getting affected. So as I scroll down and we look at the top 10 coins, you can see only 3 out of the 10 top 10 cryptos do seem to be in green. Stellar is the only one up 4.67%, the only one actually up more than 1%. Otherwise, Monero and Cardano are barely even up 1%. Otherwise, everything else is down. Bitcoin not even down by 1%, down by 0.58 at 6,373. We have Litecoin down 2.75 at $50, holding strong above that. And we have XRP at 50 cents, down 1%. Otherwise, the market does seem to be okay. Just another day of consolidation. Maker up 5%. Things are down 1, 2, 3, 4%. Nothing too crazy. I haven't seen any double digits in either direction today. So that's not too bad. Another day of stability, trading out sideways. And now that kind of leads on to this article I have here. So this basically says Bitcoin, the calm before the storm. And as you guys know, Bitcoin is it's the big brother of all the altcoins. This is the top dog. Whatever happens to Bitcoin, most of the time, not always, don't quote me on that, most of the time gets affected by all the other altcoins. So when Bitcoin moves up, majority of the altcoins move up. Bitcoin moves down, majority of the altcoins move down. Now there are those, flukes. There are those outliers that do the opposite and reverse with Bitcoin. So sometimes if Bitcoin goes down, these altcoins decide to move up. Similar to like in the economy, when the economy does bad, small chain restaurants, or the bigger chain, smaller priced restaurants start to flourish and do well. McDonald's in a lower economy does fairly well because of how cheap that is. And then the big companies like gyms and fitness centers do fairly poor because those are like leisurely things that you don't necessarily need. So that's another way to look at things. But this is pretty important, and I want to show you guys there's a very good article on seekingalpha.com. Very interesting that they're talking about cryptocurrency, but in a male-dominated cryptocurrency world, based on my notifications and statistics on this channel, this does fit fairly well with this article. So it says Bitcoin has been remarkably stable lately, trading in an atypically narrow range over the past few months, which is true. We've been talking about recently. We've seen a lot of stability. We've called it an accumulation zone. It then says, however, this is not the first time that such a phenomenon has been observed. In fact, Bitcoin often quiets down when interest evaporates, volume declines, and sentiments dry up. This typically occurs towards the end of a Bitcoin bear market. So that's interesting, something to pay a note of attention to. So he's not talking about it in a negative way, but in terms of interest, how I'm foreseeing this is that the weak hands, the smaller hands, the fear is slowly trickling out of the market, and we're seeing stability. Stability is an interesting tool when it hits cryptocurrency. It then says, so what will be the spark capable of igniting the next bull stampede in Bitcoin? There are various factors, but the introduction of multiple Bitcoin ETFs, increased institutional interest and investment, coupled with continuously improved functionality, are at the top of my list. This idea was discussed in more depth with members of my private investing community, blah, 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 if you wanted to check that out. Or it says Albright Investment Group. So it then shows you guys like Bitcoin, the calm before the storm. You can see that we were at a huge downtrend right here, and you can see crazy hectic volatility, crazy spikes in and mood swings, whatever you want to call it, within the price. And then you start to see us settle down. You can see the past 3 months since September, practically a stable market. Very interesting right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll zoom in for you mobile guys. A very quiet, stable trading sideways coin. So it says there doesn't seem to be much newsworthy of moving the price right now, so Bitcoin remains extremely calm. Nevertheless, despite tame atmospheres surrounding Bitcoin for the time being, this is predominantly likely that just the calm before the storm, a storm that is likely to lift Bitcoin prices substantially higher over the next several years. Now, we did make a video a couple days ago basically talking about Bitcoin to $250,000. That's still, very possible. Yes, it does seem very far out, but he said in, 4 or 5 years, we could see movement like that. So this is not the first time Bitcoin has seen calm waters. We've seen similar periods of modest volatility and humble price swings. Primarily similar low volatility phenomenon has occurred very late stages of Bitcoin's bear market. The opposite of vertical moves, the wild price swings we see at the height of Bitcoin's bull markets. Everyone seemingly loses interest, volume dries up, news flow quiets down, and then when you least expect it, the Bitcoin bull market begins. Beautifully said, in my opinion. So what that means, guys, and what you have to pay attention to is when there is so much hype. And this is why I love to have you guys comments, because it's a way for me to also judge the markets. And hopefully you guys are doing that too. When we see when we were in the height of the bear market, we had a lot of negativity. Constant comments were coming in all the time. I lost so much money in Bitcoin. I lost so much money in altcoins. This is a terrible market. Bad. That shows me that, we're not done yet. Yes, it's a good time to be buying at these lows, but we're not done yet. If you noticed on the channel, or at least I've seen it based on the comments, that's slowly starting to go away. We're not really seeing much comments at all. We're starting to see the opposite. We're starting to see a lot less negative comments. We're starting to see a lot more of other optimistic views of the market. So that's very interesting and something you should be paying attention to, because I know I am. So, with that news, let's now move on to, the cryptocurrency, the technical analysis. Yes, we are looking at Litecoin on the 4-hour. And, interesting enough, there does seem to be some sort of downtrend. As we had envisioned, we saw a nice bump, and I honestly anticipated us to be moving much higher, retracing back up to 52.89, and it seems like we could not do that. We actually hit resistance at the high-low MMA at around 52.28, hit it fairly strong, and then we fell downwards. Now, what I'm noticing is that this high-low MMA on the 4-hour seems to be a very, very, very strong resistance, but a not-so-strong support. We've definitely used it numerous times as a support in the past, but it seems like right now or in recent times we're seeing it act more as a resistance. So we did bounce off that, and we fell now to a newer low at around 49. Then we then retraced back up to around $50, and we're currently just trading sideways. The reason for this recent pull or this recent correction back up is due to the fact we are now extremely oversold. We retraced back up, and we are now looking okay. Trading sideways, still very, very, very low. Interesting thing to take is on the relative strength index, we had a double top, pretty much giving us a sign that we could be seeing a correction downwards, and we literally corrected all the way down to being oversold. And now we are kind of trading out sideways. Now, obviously, we are looking at this from a 4-hour, and that is definitely a hard way to graph things. This is the daily, and you can see we are still fairly small, still below that high-low MMA, that green band slowly trickling in, only at around 43 on the relative strength index in terms of the daily. And you can see we're retesting 49 and bouncing up there. So the candle is still in play, probably going to close right around $50. And we could see, a reversal back up to our high-low MMA. You can see resistance at the purple band, but, we have previous highs in the past. And I do anticipate a move back up to the green band very soon on its daily high-low MMA. Moving things out to its weekly right now, as you guys can see, also based on that article, Litecoin is now seeing a lot more consolidation. You can see, if I zoom out for you guys, here we are. You can see that we had a very volatile bear market right here, a lot of negative downtrend, and you can see we had stability right there, and we broke bearish, and now we're having a lot of stability again. Really no price swings in any direction. You can see how flatlined recently the relative strength index has been on the weekly, very low too. 37, giving us plenty of potential to move up at a very, very, very maximal optimal rate. Otherwise, so that does give us potential to move fairly quick. Like this article said, when we see this sideways trading, it basically tells us that the bear market that we're seeing is potentially coming to an end, and we could be, getting ready to ignite the flame and see a nice move. All those articles, and I've definitely said it before but for the new people that are on this channel, basically we read an article. Hopefully some of you guys older members of the channel remember, we talked about how all these positive news articles that come out with Litecoin and Bitcoin are kindling. And we're building this kindling up for our future bonfire. So we're adding all this new wood to it, and we're getting ready to light the bonfire at some point, stability. And when we do light it, with all of that, kindling we have added to it, it will ignite and go very, 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 very high fairly quick. So we are anticipating a very exponential growth, like we've seen in the past, happen again. Even if it takes a slow time to start, once we get going, a lot of FOMO buyers will go into it, rebuy into Bitcoin and Litecoin due to the fact, that now so many more people are aware of Bitcoin. So many more people know what Bitcoin is. So the maximal rate we can grow is just, it's so high because there's so many more new people that are involved in cryptocurrency, and it's so much more easy and so much more mass adopted to invest in it with Coinbase and everything. So we are on Bitcoin. I do just want to start on the 4 hour. I think that gives us a better view of things. And in terms of short term, you can see, interesting enough, again, we have broken bearish from our high-low MMA. Very interesting. You can see a downtrend has formed. You can see we're currently facing resistance right here at the $6,335 level. We bounced off that previous, fell below, actually fairly low today, tested, oversold on the the 4 hour high-low relative strength index. We pulled back up fairly quick. So I do think we're going to go a little bit higher, get back above 63.34 by the end of the day, and we could potentially see us retrace back up to around 63.85 by the next the next couple of days, within the next week. Ethereum seems to be taking its own trend in terms of price movement or price action. You can see it was the one that did not break below its high-low MMA. It's trading fairly well. You can see it had a lot of support and still does at 206 and has a lot of resistance up top at 220. We did retest right now our high-low MMA. Like we said on the 4 hour, the high-low MMA could potentially give out. It is fairly weak, but because we have a support right there, that gives us double strength to stay a little bit higher and potentially stay afloat. Look very, very, very nice on the high-low on the relative strength index at 47 on the 4 hour chart for Ethereum. But there's some sort of downtrend forming. We are in between the channel, so I do think we're going to bounce off fairly nicely from here and continue our way up. Lastly, XRP. As you guys know, we've been looking at XRP for quite some time, and I do think we're going to stay looking at this due to the fact a lot of people like it, and also the fact that there is an ascending triangle, and I do think it is a coin to watch. So we'll use this for a little bit, and then we'll switch off after we see this dip right here, or the pump, whatever comes first. But you guys can see an ascending triangle is forming. We're trading right off the top on the daily high-low MMA, the red band, and we're kind of funneling, like I said, into this corner here. That's where we're looking for. So definitely a movement upwards upwards from price at 50 cents, which XRP is at. We're looking for a move to around 56 before we see some sort of, volume spike. The volume spike could indicate a movement upwards bullish or a bearish breakdown from this ascending triangle. We'll have to find out as we, exceed closer, and then I'll start making some better predictions. Otherwise, that's going to sum up the episode for today, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace.